is for friends.
I thought this music was so epic.
We all like talking about gaming.
The only thing that I disliked about the old game.
There are so many different conversations started by gaming.
Oh, I forgot I have you.
This could be anything.
Okay, walk in that green goo. Oh, nope. That's a no.
Anything Gaming Podcast. Hi, and welcome to Anything Gaming. We're on episode 12 now, so we're getting through some episodes. Today, we're talking specifically about FPS games that are fast-paced FPS games. And here to do it with me is, as always, Woody. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Fantastic day. A little cold. We kind of have a cold snap going on right now. I mean, it's not freezing, but we went from like being quite warm to just all of a sudden now like right at the cusp of, freezing water temperature. So it's a tough adjustment. But other than that, doing well, brother. How about yourself?
Well, we got the opposite. We're getting warm.
Oh, all right. So we're between the two poles, yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, yeah, things been good. As far as the video game front goes, still been rocking Wonder. I actually just played through Black Mesa, the Half-Life remake. I just finished that up just shortly, just a little while ago. Had a great time with that. Really don't know where I want to go right now. I actually think I want to dive back into Baldur's Gate 3. I want to give that a better try. I want to get, of all the hype trains, I want to get on that game's hype train.
Well, it's got such a good review. I can understand wanting to get back to that one.
I at least want to get a good way into it. I don't need necessarily to beat the game because I am getting burnt out on these huge games. But I at least want to get a good get past the beginning part at least. That's really all I've done because I'm still trying to figure out the commands and everything. I am not used to PC RPGs at all. So that's kind of a big stepping stone for me. But I'm gonna try hard on that one.
I played the Stanley Parables. Have you ever played that game?
Briefly, yes. My friend, he was big into the arcade at the time, so yeah, it was good. The art style I liked. I never finished it though. Honestly, I never owned it. It was just one of those, hey, check this game out, and I did. Oh,
I kind of liked it, but I don't know. I just couldn't get sucked into it. One of those games where you kind of eh. So I went back to playing Call of Duty and yeah,
of course. That's what everyone goes back to. Yeah. It's always there. Yeah. Which particular Call of Duty?
The Cold War one. So.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't give that a real good try when it came out. I bought it, but I didn't really play it as well as I probably did, and it was on the PlayStation Plus a few months back, and I'm like, oh, I should give this another go because I didn't really give it the fairest of fair goes. And I really like it for what it's worth. It's good. But playing an FPS at the end of its life cycle is so much different to playing an FPS at the start of its life cycle because you kind of enter these these games, and they're very much super people that have been playing since day one, and they've got 1 billion prestige, and they're way too good for the game. And then you've got there's a lot of people that are just playing it for the first time, and they're just getting absolutely slaughtered. So you've got there's no middle ground people there. That it's either one extreme or the other extreme. In that end of life cycle games, have you experienced that?
Oh, plenty of times. I remember that's the way it was with an online game I fancy. It wasn't actually, yeah, there was a first-person shooter that happened, at least with me, with that. I stuck in with Castle Wolfenstein, Return to Castle Wolfenstein on Xbox for a long time.
Yeah,
as long as the servers were up. And by the end of it, I mean, luckily I was one of those people that got really good at it, so it didn't bother me. And we were able to find, groups of friends, people we chat up with and all that. But like you said, other than us, there really wasn't anyone else but the newbies. And I mean, you can only slaughter them for so long before you're like, all right, this is just boring now.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it. So the end cycle's always the toughest cycle. It's truly when it just stops.
Yeah, I think I am going to get Modern Warfare 3. I've been umming and ahhing. I haven't decided which way I'll go with that. And I haven't bought a new COD for a long, long time. So I think it's about time to maybe invest in that again. I always buy it on a PlayStation 5. There's my other drama. Do I buy it on Xbox? Or do
you know, just saying, probably Xbox. I guess that would be like the logical choice for that if you were to get that game. But you know, at the same time, my brother, he ended up getting for PS5. Well,
I think it comes out tomorrow.
You know, like,
I think it comes out.
He got the beta. He got it like the early release. Yeah. Oh, he's into that game.
Yeah,
he always had. I remember way back when, whatever Christmas he was like 14 years old. I myself, like not for Christmas, I got Modern Warfare 2 like the day before Christmas. I went to the store, picked it up, and I just had it down. I woke up that morning. He didn't even care about his gifts. He was just like online Modern Warfare 2. If I had a guess, I'd say between 6:30 in the morning till about 4 o'clock at night. And even then, he just went over his friend's house because he got it too. So like he just like they end up like playing it together. It was he loves Call of Duty. The last Call of Duty game I bought when it was new was Ghost.
Yeah,
which is it's kind of like the blackest of sheeps for the series too, which I think is weird. Like I would dip my toes back in. I played them all right, and I'm talking about like original Call of Duty up until Modern Warfare 2. That was my last one. And then after that, I kind of drifted away. I dipped back to Ghost, mainly because I just got my PS4, and it was a PS4 game, and I wanted to beef up my collection. I played one online match. A bunch of people were ducking and stabbing me. So the disc went back into the case, back on the pile, and there it is. I did get World War II, though. I do want to play that.
I love that, but I started my Call of Duty journey on World at War. That was the one that came out after Modern Warfare 2, I think, and not the new Modern Warfare. Like, how many new versions of Modern Warfare 2 have we had? Like, I think we've had 3 now.
Well, the original Modern Warfare 2, and if anyone in the comments wants to correct me on this, go for it.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare, it was Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was 2008. If that's the case, I want to say World at War, because that was the first one where now it was a yearly thing. If you look at the timeline, and now every year around Christmas, a Call of Duty game is coming out. So that would have placed World at War at probably around 2009, maybe 2010. No, and that's when Call of Duty was like a force then. Like it was just becoming like a thing. There was Game Fuel Mountain Dew by then.
Well, and that was back in the day when, so just to put it in perspective for everyone else, back then you would have, this is like pretty new, this whole online gaming on console, not on PC. Like this was new for the console era. I don't think before this much had been as big on console as an online game as this. And it really kind of exploded where the consoles were from the online point of view. I think what happened after this kind of ruined somewhat the Call of Duties, but when the Fortnites and things like that came out, all these free-to-play games, the kind of everyone's like, oh, do I pay like $60 for a game, or do I get the free game and just buy the add-ons? Like, and that kind of changed the landscape of where all these games were at, the Call of Duties and stuff at the time.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's about marketing. And if you look at video games, 1978. Like, don't look at the games. Look at the way they're selling you the games. And just look at it from there to now. It has evolved just as much as the games themselves. But the only difference is the only downturn was the crash. And even then, it's not like the advertisers really took the biggest hit. They just advertised something else. But once Nintendo came out, and just little things, like weird things. The Wizard. it's a movie about a boy wanting to go to California because he just has it in his mind to. And guess what? There's a video game competition going there. And also, guess what? He's awesome at video games. He's the wizard. So, and at the end of the day, the movie is more or less just an advertisement for Super Mario Brothers 3. And which is kind of incredible in of itself. I mean, imagine, honestly, probably the equivalent today would be imagine a movie about some people trying to get to a Fortnite, like some type of MLG, Smash Brothers tournament, something. Like that would be the Wizard today if they did that and they just went on a road adventure to get to this tournament. Yeah. That's actually a pretty good idea for a movie. Maybe we should, we're coming up with good movie ideas lately.
If you're watching this, we've just deleted that part. So we're back. Welcome back. I'm joking. That was a joke. Bad joke.
All right. I was like, oh God, did I ruin the copyright?
Live deleting.
Yeah, getting back to the original thing of advertising. When you look at Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the original 2008 Call of Duty Modern Warfare, you had things like drinks coming out. You know what I mean? Other little, clever but still blatant advertising techniques.
Oh, because that also, I think about not long after, it might have been that one or the one after, but Call of Duty started getting more skins to compete with what Fortnite was doing. And so you could go to your Burger King and you could get the Burger King Call of Duty Super Deluxe, super kill everything meal, and you got a code so you could get a new skin or a new gun. And that was like also where the marketing kind of came into it. But it was like really cool because like, let's face it, most gamers will eat at Burger King anyway. So why not just get a free skin as well?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just the advertising now is insane. You know what I mean? Like with, actually it's funny. Fortnite not so much stepped in it, but I guess they're getting flack for having shell gas advertised in their game, like their Shell stations and stuff.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure Shell is in a couple other video games in history. I can't think of the one. If someone out there can help me, I know that there was a game where they would actually have they had real things in this particular game. Not Saints Row, but something Saints Row-esque. That's the best I can think of it. I honestly can't. Maybe someone out there can be like, oh, that game, like that. So there's always been blatant advertising like that in video games.
Fortnite. You might be getting confused also with a lot of video games would put stuff in it that looks almost like the real thing, but they're not the real thing.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. That's what I'm also thinking of. But no, it was like Exxon or something. I really wish I remembered it, but I think I
thought maybe one of the early Grand Theft Autos might have had something that was very similar.
I mean, occasionally, once again, you would get the game that would have, Turtles, for example, the original Ninja Turtles, pick up boxes of pizza that say Pizza Hut on it. It was a direct tie-in with Pizza Hut pizza. It was advertising in the video games. And Call of Duty has always been, I think they're the ones that really set the standard for how people advertise through the video game medium now.
Oh, also Halo. Don't get me wrong. Halo was very good.
Yeah, you're right. Halo's they were more like lockstep. Those two, the Titans, really. Yeah. They both had their drinks.
Would you say that Halo has fallen off a cliff?
Oh no, it hasn't fallen off a cliff. It may have stumbled on a plateau. But falling off a cliff, no. I mean, Infinite was received well enough that it does have a fan base. People still play Infinite. It's not the level that people are playing some other games, but it's good. It's good enough to at least sustain Halo. And honestly, I did play a little bit of Halo Infinite. It was one of the first things I got when I got my computer. It was good, but at the same time, it was Halo.
To me, it's just ever since that they've left to do their other thing, Halo's kind of like they just copy the best parts of the original Halos and put it into the new Halos. That's what it feels like. It's like a greatest hits of Halo now, instead of like making something new and exciting.
And here's the thing, Halo to me, like the multiplayer in Halo is top notch, and I mean going back to OG Xbox Halo. Even though it wasn't multiplayer, like if you could get a LAN party going, it was spectacular. It was real fun. And Halo 2, once that went, Halo 2 was online, I believe. By then, they had Xbox Live going. I think I may have been one of the premier ones. And going on. Halo's single-player campaign, while good, like the enemies moved very well. They were very smart for the time, especially very smart enemies. The way they flanked, all that stuff. They were and just like the ways to kill them were great. But I swear, I've played, 90s FPS games that had more life into the actual world behind it. It seemed like you were always playing the same level throughout the entire game. Like, there's a reason why people joke about the library level, just because it's just the same over and over and over again. Wonderful played game, but just like Halo 2 fixed a lot of that. Like the new Bombassa level in the beginning there, very vibrant. That like cured that. That was kind of a hit.
Halo Reach for me was just the best.
Reach was the last one I played.
Yeah, Reach is so good. I got the Halo Reach console. That's how excited I was. Yes, I was super excited. But
I got.
Yeah, sorry, go. You got.
I got the Halo 3 console. My Xbox 360, my old one, red ringed. So I went back and I don't think I sold it, but I am getting a new Xbox. But it was a refurbished Xbox because back then I really wasn't making too much money. And I absolutely got the warranty because at this point 360s were really in danger of it. And it was a cool looking console, and it came with a controller too. Guess what happened 3 months later?
Red ring.
Luckily, I had the warranty and everything, but it was such a shame because that was a cool Xbox. I had never had like a custom console, like something like that. I've had fan-made. I do have some fan-made stuff, but as far as like a officially released console like that, I've never had one of those. So it was a little bit of.
Well, I had the Halo Reach console, and the only thing different that it did was when it would start up, it would make the little Halo noise when you'd start it up.
That's cool.
It coming out of the console itself, and it was just like, this is right in the prime of when consoles were, they do something like that, and you're just like, I love this.
No, that was I mean, it didn't do anything like that, but I do enjoy that. And of course, even today, Call of Duty has its own share consoles.
Oh yeah.
Is there any Fortnite consoles or
Apex
Legends?
You can get a Fortnite Switch.
Like I'm sure, like like the PlayStation 5, you can probably get a Fortnite shell or an Apex Legends shell or Five Nights at Freddy's shell or whatever. But like as far as like actual off the press,
there is actually a Fortnite Switch.
Oh.
There's definitely, I don't know about anything else. I was going to go into Nintendo a little bit. Why do you think they've never been so successful at the FPS genre?
Whoa there, buddy. All right, okay. All right, is everyone actually no, you earn this now saying things like that. All right. I wasn't gonna do this, but you're just talking words.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I know
not successful.
Oh.
All right. Oh, we ain't done.
After that,
unsuccessful.
Yeah, but after that, they went downhill. They kind of made a strategic decision not to put like games with mature themes onto Nintendo to make it the family console.
True. I would say it peaked with GameCube because GameCube, you still had games like the Time Splitters series coming out on GameCube. While not a first-person shooter, it's definitely not in our realm of conversation now. It would be remiss not to mention Metroid Prime there, keeping up with, at least with that type of, and sometimes in the game, it does get a little running and gunny, even though you're backtracking a lot, it's more of an adventure. But yeah, I will agree with you that once the Wii came in, it went away. And I think probably the obvious reason is that there was never a really good first-person shooter that had motion controls. At the top of my head, I think it was something like Red Steel, and Red Steel wasn't that good. You know, there were a couple. Actually, I want to say there might have been a Call of Duty game in there somewhere.
There was the Call of Duty Ghosts did make it on there.
Yeah,
and Black Ops 2 were on. I just googled this on the Wii U, and then after Ghosts, I might have been that they were having not many people playing it on the Nintendo, so Call of Duty, like they had to turn everything down to put it on Nintendo anyway, so it's just maybe like hey, that's a lot of work for not a lot of reward from Call of Duty.
And going back to how you say younger audience, I think it's funny that if you notice all the great Nintendo first-person shooters I have are mainly for the Nintendo 64. And I think the reason with that is because at the time when Nintendo when Nintendo hit the market hard, 84, 85, then they were targeting the kids. And I believe they followed that generation of kids. So, they're little kids, maybe a little older.
Right.
And Nintendo, by the time Super Nintendo comes out, now they're getting into their teen years. They're getting a little older. Now that when the Nintendo 64 is coming out, now they're in their elder teen years. Now they know what, an R-rated movie might look like, or even if they're not old enough to watch it, they are watching it. So I think they kind of maybe followed that generation a little closer.
And then they've gone, hang on, these guys have retired now. We have to get the next little ones and bring them through.
And they thought to themselves, wow, if only we had a secret weapon, maybe like a little pocket monster that we could unleash. And they're like, I know how to get the kids for the rest of human history. And then there you go. That's how that ended up happening. And they honestly, they probably saw the success of Pokemon and was like, all right, let's just stick with what kids want, or like what we feel that kids need. And yeah, the first person shooter, I guess, just didn't really fit that bill. And it's a damn shame too, because you get the occasional retro boomer shooter on the Switch, that plays very well. But if you're just talking like a pure, maybe not even Call of Duty, like Doom Eternal, which actually did go out on the Switch, but once again, it wasn't like pushed on the Switch. And you got to mention the elephant in the room, it plays well enough, it looks well enough, but it doesn't look nearly as good as its every other version. It doesn't look as good as the Stadia version. You know what I mean? So I just think they need to find a good mix between what the graphic capabilities the Switch can do, and of course the gameplay that lures people in.
I've been playing Overwatch 2 on the Switch.
Now,
and that kind of suits the Switch. Like its graphics probably lend itself to fitting onto the Switch and being okay. Like it plays really nicely. It's really good. But I don't think there's Fortnite I can play on the Switch, and I think Apex Legends.
Yep, Apex is on the Switch too.
Yeah.
So they definitely got like the big, Royale games, but there's
of course, Xbox famously signed the 10-year deal with Nintendo. So starting next year, I would assume COD releases on the Switch as well.
And it seems like it'd be a mutual coexistence, because Microsoft has never showed any interest in going portable, ever. Like they're not interested in that. Nintendo seems perfectly content. Like, yeah, you can put it to the TV, but they don't mind staying portable. So if neither company is not going to be in either's way, why not help each other?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right.
Which is probably making Sony sweat some bullets. They're probably not, because they're starting to go with the PlayStation Portal. They're trying to ease back into the portable realm there. But if they can get a portable system that can have games like Call of Duty, and Warzone, and Modern Warfare 3 and all those, that'd be a hit. I'm surprised they haven't attempted it sooner. Somewhere you can play that stuff anywhere, just like Fortnite and Apex and the other one there.
Yeah. For this episode, what I thought I should do is play Counter-Strike 2, because it's only just new out, and I played the original Counter-Strike, and I kind of didn't like it, and I thought, well, the second one's out now. I should give it a try. You know,
I played the original Xbox version of Counter Strike. I never played the PC version. It was cute. It was
yeah.
all right.
So my thoughts are, it's just not very good. And like someone's going to write down and a blow up. I know I'm going to get hate. Like I get that.
Hey.
Yeah, but I'm going to state why I think that it plays really, really good. Like technically it is a fantastic game. The maps are really well done, but just the vibe of the game, it just feels like a cheaper version of Call of Duty. Like it doesn't feel, you know, like all those little polishing bits that COD put into things or Halo put into their games. It just doesn't have that polished part into it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a problem. As the uncanny valley gets narrower, a lot of games are just gonna bleed. They're gonna look a lot alike. You know what I mean? Because especially when you're going for that hyper realistic military, and it's a shame. I think they should make. Sometimes I think maybe they shouldn't put the graphics as much as they can, so it can have its own distinct style. The original Counter Strike, it was clearly a Half-Life skin. It was based off Half-Life to begin with. But that is disappointing to hear about, you know, Counter Strike. It was what I played wasn't too bad, but meh.
It's not terrible. And then you get that moment at the end of the game when you realize why every single PC gamer loves Counter Strike. After you close the game, it comes up with how your frame rates were traveling throughout the game. It comes up with all your PC stats after you close the game, and you can go, "Oh wow, my PC performed really well during that game." And
now I want to play it just to see how my PC's doing. Like, all right.
Yeah. So that was that moment. I'm like, yes, I can see what happened here. So I wanted to throw out a couple of more little FPS games that you probably haven't heard of that I think are definitely worth like something of that kind of thing. Tell me if you've heard any of these. Deep Rock Galactic. Have you heard of that?
I have heard that. Steam has been trying to make me buy that game. Actually, everyone's been trying to make me buy that game for a while. Should I buy it?
Yes.
It seems like every time, you know, when you open a page.
Yes and no. Yeah. Do you have friends?
No. Well, I have like flesh friends. I do have online friends, but like they're very niche driven. Like I got my Left 4 Dead crew. You know.
Well, the Left 4 Dead crew would love Deep Rock Galactic because it really appeals to that kind of crew. It's a four people go down into a mine. Basically, you've got a little bit of mining to do, so you've got to kind of navigate down, drill some holes, get the minerals. But once you get the minerals, you've obviously disturbed the terrible bugs that are down in that hole, and they come out and try to kill you, very Left 4 Dead type of style. And you've got to try and work as a team to get back to the drill so you can get back to the surface. So it has got some Left 4 Dead vibes to it with a bit of a Minecraft thrown in there, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's
interesting. Like I said, I have heard,
but it's better with two or three players. It's better. It's not very fun by yourself, but you can normally pick up a game with someone if you get it.
So it's 4 people, like 4.
Left 4 Dead style.
So, okay, all right.
Yeah, so that one. Another one, Epic Games at the moment is giving away their free game of the week, as they do to try and make people go there. And they've got Golden Light. Have you heard of that one?
Golden Light. Here's the thing. I do have an Epic account. I honestly, I don't remember the last time I was on the Epic store. I almost went there to buy Diablo. But I ended up not doing that.
Well, you can get Golden Light on Steam too if you want to pay for it. But if anyone that wants to get the free one, it's available for 1 week now.
Now, is this like a traditional shooter, or does it have like something to it? Because when you say Golden Light, and we're talking about like, you know, the shooters here, it makes me think of Golden Eye.
It's very much a roguelike game. You start off with nothing. You've got to find some weapons, and then you've got to shoot. You want to find the guns to kill the monsters in that, to clear each level, to get to the next level so you can get through the game. It's multiplayer up to 2 players, so you can play with one buddy, but it's a pretty good game on its own. It's just weird though. It's got some weird things that go on in this game. Like it's just very uniquely looking. It's something that I laughed about, like the toilet. You walk into the bathrooms and one of the toilets will spit out at you if you get too close to it. Things like that you're not kind of expecting to happen in the game happen to you all the time in this game.
Is it like a funny game? Like, is there like a humorous kind of beat to it? Or
it's probably like a dark humor. It's not like, you're not like a cheesy humor, but more like a dark humor. If you like those kind of like you'll pick up notes that say some almost suicidal things, but they're meant as in a humorous way. It's an interesting type of game. Yeah.
Interesting.
So there's another one. Okay, so we'll go through. There's 2 from. You've heard one of them. You're 50% so far.
I've heard of it. Yep.
This one here, I'm guaranteed you're not going to know. It's called Space Flux.
Space Flux?
Yes, all one word, space and then flux. It's a game. It's an online multiplayer shooter, and it's really weird that it kind of repeats on itself. So you can kind of go in on a map many times. It's very fast paced. It's one of the most fast-paced shooters I've played. It's a bit different. But the one that I think you will like out of this, it's on Steam. It's a free one. It's called Splitgate. Now, yeah. Now, this one here is, imagine you got Portal and Call of Duty and they had a child. So you get to shoot portals and then you can appear behind people and shoot people.
Oh, so that's cool. Like how it is portal manipulation, but it adds the gunplay to it.
Yeah, it's like it's a shooter, but you're basically like throwing portals around to like fast travel through the map and stuff like that. So.
Well, now I got some games. Now, these are newer games, of course. These aren't retro. Although one of them does. The one that does have a retro feel to it, and it's actually made by 3D Realms. Okay. You know, everyone who listens to us know that I love Duke Nukem. It's one of my favorite one of my favorite shooters. Ion Fury. It's available on Steam. It's available on all the consoles. And even though clearly it's a newer, it's in 4K. But it plays more like a game that came out in 97, 98.
Oh, yes. It only came out like 6 months ago.
Yeah, the sequel is coming out. They are coming out with a sequel. The sequel's coming, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the more fun first-person shooters I played in a while. Everything of it just clicks. It just got such a slimy cyberpunk feel to it. A lot like Cyberpunk 2077, but just the build engine graphics, which makes it even cooler and cyberpunky. At least to me it does.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my more, and I love the protagonist in it, tough as nails lady, a cop. I think Officer Lewis from RoboCop.
Is it story-driven game or is it an online shooter?
Story driven. It's single player. I don't even think they didn't add in a multiplayer component to it. One other game though that it does have a multiplayer component to it, even though I haven't played too much of it. But it's a quite, I think only one person developed the game, but it's a phenomenal game, and I believe I just like the puzzle games, I'm gonna try pronouncing this one correctly. Attica. But it's spelled like the way it is, ADAC, like Attica.
Okay.
And it's almost like, I know this is gonna sound weird. Imagine an indie take on Half-Life 2. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like one of those sprawling games where you don't have split up levels. It's you and you're just going forward. To the it is story driven. You know what I mean? There is a story to it.
Yeah.
But the art style rocks. It has like this cool like pastel. Honestly, I mean, well, imagine a little bit more futuristic looking Light Haze world, but with more like maybe a couple more robot stuff to it. That kind of like just like nice soft palette colors. But of course, you know, you're shooting at dudes, they're shooting at you, you're blowing them up. So everyone's, you know, it crosses that line. But it's just interesting because the game was just developed by one person. The fact that they could make this like incredible first-person shooter, and it's awesome. I haven't even scratched the surface. There's a sandbox mode in it. That's where the multiplayer component comes in. I haven't even tried that yet. Like the single player just looks to me. So the fact that it has like two different like campaigns, like a more linear story thing, and then like a sandbox one, I think is great. Another game that I'm keeping an eye out. Now, this hasn't come out yet. There is early access on Steam, but I just haven't like pulled the trigger yet. Dino Trauma.
Oh.
For fans of, if you look at it's made to look like a high-res Nintendo 64 game. Like it almost, yeah, it almost like Turok, you know what I mean? It kind of goes to that, but with more of a Dino Crisis feel. It's more modern look, you know, like you're in like a laboratory kind of thing. But it hits that first person shooter button for me, or at least it looks like it does. Can't wait till that comes out proper. I've never actually gotten an early access game. You know, I've always been kind of hesitant to that. Do you do early access for anything?
I used to. Back in the day, but it's not so much now. Now I don't have that much time to play games, so if someone gives it to me and asks me to trial it and give them some opinion, then I will. But it's not really something I build my life around as much as I used to.
No, but yeah, those are my 3 games that I got, you know, for to counter your 3 games, I suppose. When it comes to shooters, of course, because there's always the big ones. You know, you always got your Call of Duties coming out, your Halos, maybe a Medal of Honor here and there. Yeah,
well, I would say that there is a big first person shooter coming soon, very much run and gun, and that is the Finals. That they had the close or the open beta actually a week or 2 ago, so they could get some bugs and stuff out of it before they launch. But it's basically going to put a rocket up Call of Duty because it's fast. It's remember when Titanfall came out and everyone was like moving over to Titanfall and Call of Duty got really scared and added jetpacks to their characters and stuff like that? This game's got that similar type of thing to it. It's very fast. You got wall running in it again. You've got so if you shoot a character, they don't bleed or anything. They'll just turn to money, and then you can collect all the coins from them and stuff like that. And then whoever's got the most money at the end of the match will kind of get better. Like that's who will win the game. It just looks really, really fun. So I'm a bit worried for Call of Duty on that one. I think that'll hurt their sales a little bit when that releases, and I'm not sure when that is.
Well, there is a healthy amount of hype for the Finals. There's no doubt about that. And, you know, that's the kind of hype you need to make an opinion about it. You know, I'm sure people are counting the days for, you know, when it does come out. I didn't play the beta, obviously.
No, I made it.
But from what I heard of it, though, it seemed like the results are positive. You know, I just don't know that much. I try to stay in the dark with games until they come out because I hate I used to do that to myself. I would just like anticipate and just like work myself up for these games. And most of the times, like the games I really worked myself up for, even if they were great, there's no way they could hit that hype. You know, at a certain point, the games that were really knocking me out of the way were like the games I wasn't expecting. You know, like I'd be like, all right, this seems cute. And then you'd be like, whoa, you know, like where'd this come from?
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I try not to, I kind of like to get the hype early in the game. So in the game's life cycle. So if the game's coming out next year, I'll kind of get the hype this year and then I'll try and forget about it for till next year. Like use some of my dementia up and try and like not know what's happening with the game. Like, oh, this is exciting again. But like instead of following the hype train all the way there, just kind of get on it early and then jump back off. so I can kind of have it in the memory bank for later on.
No, yeah, I mean, it's so easy now too with marketing. You know, you go on your phone, you see, we're gonna see finals advertisements.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going back to advertising. They're gonna sell this game to us. You know, they definitely, with the buzz they definitely got plans. And I guess that's the new thing. I mean, it's sponsorships too. You know, you got these celebrities. They're like being sponsored by video games now. Crazy.
Yeah. But I want Titanfall 3. Why we need Titanfall 3 in our lives. That's what everyone needs. Like, let's be honest.
That was a game that scratched every itch. Great multiplayer, great single player. You know.
But also it kind of gave you like something a bit different, but it was the same. It was so familiar, but so unique. Like you knew exactly how to drive these big Titans because it was really intuitive on how the character should move and all that kind of stuff. But you kind of never got to play something so big and massive in a game because then you'd be way too OP'd. But then when you put other Titans in to fight them, and then you had these little guys running around like little rodents, and they're jumping up the back and pulling you out of this Titan, and all of a sudden you kind of got this awesome dynamic to this game that I've just never experienced before. We just need a third one.
But unfortunately, fortunately for them, I mean, Apex Legends is still going strong, which is kind of like the spin-off, really, of... in my eyes, it's a spin-off of Titanfall. But I can't agree with you more. Titanfall 3 needs to happen. Titanfall needs to happen, then 4, then 5. And then by then we'll be like, yeah, we don't need Titanfall 6. Yeah, we don't. Now they'll release the remake, of Titanfall 1 and 2, and right now we're on that cycle again. Yeah, how long has it been since Titanfall 2 came out?
I'm just looking now. It came out in 2016.
Oh my God.
That's a long time ago.
That's
almost
like
10 years ago.
Oh,
or like 8 years ago. Like, wow.
Long overdue.
Come
Well,
on.
hopefully they announce it soon. When they do announce it, we're going to definitely make a note of it on this show.
Yeah, I think so. What was your... have you ever had a disappointing FPS? Like an FPS that you just bought and you're going, whoa, that was so bad.
Oh, a couple of them, sure. Jeez,
Yeah.
Where do I begin? I mean, okay, do ports count?
I guess so.
Okay, in that case, there were some disappointing ports of first-person shooters. The Saturn's version of Duke Nukem wasn't that hot. The 32X version of Doom was definitely not that hot. And then you get into actual, like, schlock. I remember I was excited for Turok Evolution. I liked Turoks 1, 2, and 3, and I was ready for that. Ugh. Like, that was a hard... That one would really, really, really disappointed me back in the day. Okay, it didn't disappoint me. And it's kind of funny. Wolfenstein: The New Order. Decent game. But I actually liked the Wolfenstein that came out before that better, the 2010 Wolfenstein. And it's so weird because, like, no one remembers that particular game. And that game was real fun. That's my favorite Wolfenstein game. So while New Order was good, it didn't live up to that standard. You know, I don't want to call it disappointing because that makes it seem like it's a bad game. But it was definitely one of those games that, like, I would never play again. I was like, that's over with now. I do tend to... one recent first-person shooter that kind of disappointed me was Atomic Heart.
Oh, yeah?
It was just boring. Like...
Oh, yeah, a lot of people hated that.
Yeah, like, it just did not do anything for me. The voice acting definitely took it out of me. I was just happy you could actually make them speak native Russian, because the the Western accents they gave them sound like crap. Like, good voices, but just did not fit the people that were that was doing the talking. So, yeah, but even switching everything to Russian, it just didn't click. Luckily, it was on Game Pass, so I was able to just, be like, all right, well, that was cute. And I didn't go back, and I don't ever plan on going back.
For me, you're probably going to disown me as a friend. But Quake.
Which Quake?
The first Quake.
Like the PC version? Like we're talking like
yeah, and it was a really good game. Don't get me wrong, but it disappointed me because I don't know. I think because there was such a hype train leading to it. It was such a hyped game that once I got there, I was just like, I played a level. I'm over it.
Here's the thing. Like a lot of games of that era, it's definitely one of those games that was for the time. For the time when Quake came out, that was the first game that was like a 3D plane, first person. You know, the items were 3-dimensional. The gibs were 3-dimensional. Everything was if you play something like Duke Nukem or like Hexen or, Shadow Warrior or even Marathon, it was all 2D sprites. It was really camera tricks is really what it was doing. This was like an actual 3D space. But now when you play it today, and I played it recently, the weapon variety, not there. The level design's all right, but it would get much better as time went on. The graphics, while once again, for the time, phenomenal. You never saw anything like that. Honestly, a little washed out. Everything's brown, the color of poop, and I get it because it's on one hand you get it because it's supposed to be a Lovecraftian kind of underworld thing, but if you look at Doom, which depicted hell, but that was bright, vibrant reds, yellows, stuff like that weird purple fire in those levels, things like that. Those things pop. Quake doesn't pop.
No.
And so I
the
I get
hype
the
train was huge. It was a massive hype train game.
No one had ever seen a game like that. No one had ever played in a 3D realm like that. So that's one of those games that clearly it would have a hype train. You know what I mean? It's one thing to have different new features, new this, new that, but when you're actually fundamentally, changing how the bricks look and how they're made, you don't even need the hype train at that point. It runs itself.
Yeah.
But like you said, looking today, and of course then you had Quake 2 come out, which, Quake 2 was a little tougher because John Romero was gone from ID by the time Quake 2 came out, and he was their main level designer and stuff. So, but at the time it was the bleeding edge graphics, so everyone jumped on the hype train for that too. If you notice, the main fuel for a lot of these hype trains, especially even today, graphics. Wow, look at these graphics! Get on the hype train, everybody.
Yeah, and that's where the gaming landscape is changing a little bit, because I think we've almost reached a ceiling of how good we can make things look. Now we've got to actually go back and add story to games to get people involved.
Yeah. So it's going back to that uncanny valley. If everything looks real, then how
are we going to make it better?
Yeah.
So is there a game then, an FPS that surprised you? You thought it was going to be garbage, but it turned out to be very fantastic.
I'm not going to say I was going to think it was garbage, but I wasn't expecting Doom 2016 to be as good as it was.
Okay.
I was kind of expecting Wolfenstein New Order. I was expecting a solid first-person shooter, decent story, decent gameplay, nothing crazy, nothing to challenge anything. That's what I went in as. It blew me away. A lot of part of it was just revolutionary and just how you fought the enemies. You talk about running gun, you are running, throughout that game. You are not slowing down. That's one of those games that I could totally see people getting real motion sickness from. And when you include the challenges in the game, how it incorporates the old stuff, the secrets, but even that's got a new take to it. That really surprised me, to the point that when Doom Eternal came out, which fundamentally a much better game than Doom 2016, because you already went there, it didn't have the same impact that Doom 2016 had. But I just remember just being blown away by the first level in Doom 2016. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe a game could reinvent itself just like that. Not even just reinvent itself, just take it back. You don't need to reload that shotgun. Just keep shooting.
Keep going. Just keep shooting. Unload.
How about you? Was there any first-person shooters that came out of left field for you?
Yeah, actually, Outriders. I'm not sure if you ever played it, but this game, it looked kind of cool. It was on Game Pass, I think, at the time. And I'm like, I'll give it a go. And I end up playing the whole game. And it's like a fairly large game, like 50 hours kind of game. And I just got addicted to it. It's just so different to everything else that you kind of... It's very much dungeon kind of runs in the shooting kind of genre. But it's I don't know. You have to really play the game to kind of... It's not like other shooting games, and that's what kind of drew me to it. Like everyone's got their own abilities. I know that's something that they do. It's a bit of a RPG kind of components to the game. It's a bit of all those type of things. It's got a fantastic story, but when you see the trailer, it kind of looked garbage. And I didn't know why people were kind of going, "Oh, this game looks..." Like people were into the game. There was a fair bit of hype running into the game, but I just looked at it and go, it doesn't look all that fantastic. I'll give it a try. And yeah, it's probably one of the best FPS that I played for the last 5 years. It was so good.
Are there any FPSs you feel... we talked about this a few episodes back with franchises. Not necessarily a franchise, but do you think there's a FPS series that should have got more love, maybe a sequel, or at least more attention to it?
Well, I mean, we just did talk about Titanfall. That was definitely one that was...
You don't think... but I feel that Titanfall did get some love,
I suppose it got a lot of love, but it didn't
Plus,
get...
it is attached to Apex.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. I'm talking... Well, for me, for example, one first-person shooter game I loved was this game called Black. Came out in, like, the late cycle of the OG Xboxes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually backwards compatible with the Series X. So if you ever find a copy or $1, it was kind of Black Ops before Black Ops. Mm-hmm. It wasn't squad based, although, well, there were squad members, but it wasn't like tight like a Call of Duty game. But it was like a fast paced military shoot everything in front of you shooter. It's funny too because it only had the one game. At the time it was considered the great graphics milestone, which it was for the time. But it hasn't really aged especially well today. And I always thought it was going to be made into a franchise. I always thought there was going to be a Black 2 or, just like a big thing. And it never came out. One thing I think may have hurt it was the fact that there was no multiplayer component to it. Yeah. It was strictly single player, which was a death knell at that time when the multiplayer, especially the multiplayer FPS online, was just starting to really take off. And it wasn't on board for that. So that's the only thing I can think of for the reason why there was not a Black 2.
Black multiplayer. Let's bring it out. One of the weird FPSs that I never really quite got into, but I tried really, really hard because I love the game, but the multiplayer component I couldn't do, was the Uncharted. Did you ever play multiplayer Uncharted?
I did.
Yeah, and I found it really hard to enjoy. It was just not a very good game to play multiplayer, I didn't think.
No, I mean, there was a time where it seemed like every game was getting a multiplayer component shoehorned into it. I mean, one of the Batman Arkham games had a multiplayer, like just to show you where, everyone's head was at. And I can see that, but a lot of them, like you said, man, they were just tacked right on.
Yeah, it's just like, let's just throw Call of Duty multiplayer onto there and then we can compete with that. And everyone's like, no, this is crap. Okay, let's do a bit of a trick. Do you want to rate some Call of Duty maps? I thought I would take us on a different tact.
All right, listen. I will mention some maps I like for Call of Duty, but I'm not gonna lie, I do not know names. Even the ones I played a billion times back in the...
I'll go through some because I've got a list here of what they are, and you can tell me where you rate them in your... Like, I'll give you a descript of them and all that kind of stuff. I'll go to about 10 of them. You can rate them in your out of 10 or something like that. How about that?
All right.
Yeah. So there's Resistance, which was that was the one in France. It was modeled on that town where on the corner and the building on the corner there. It was in Modern Warfare 3.
Is that the one? Like, I remember it's probably the different one, but I did like it was a level and it is European. And it almost looks like it takes place, not a courtyard, but just like an eating area.
Yeah.
You know, like an outside food court. There's some buildings behind it. I actually like that one.
Yeah. That
wasn't my favorite. You know, like it always seems like it just got picked way too much. I don't care how good a level is. If that level keeps coming up and up and up and up and up, you get burnt out on it.
Yeah. So I was thinking that's about a 6 for me. It was a kind of just a bit over halfway.
I'd probably go one higher with 7 on that.
Okay. Summit, that was the snow level where there was a control tower up the top of a mountain, and if you fell off, you kind of just died.
Yeah,
and it had the cable car in it.
Yeah. That's gonna be like, I'll be generous, a 3.
Yeah, I hate snow levels. I hate snow levels.
Snow levels are no. I don't like snow levels in first-person shooters. I don't like snow levels in kart racers. No. I don't like snow levels in Donkey Kong Country.
No, we are the exact same person on that. I hate snow levels. Why do people put snow levels in? They're just terrible.
Like I get war happens in snow sometimes, but that doesn't mean that you should be in a video game.
Yeah, no, we don't care.
It's cold.
Shipment. Modern Warfare 1.
Yeah. Oh man,
that was that really tiny map, and you've just got like the containers everywhere.
That was a. See, what I love about that map is that's a good map where you can play things other than team deathmatch. You know what I mean? That's a good map that like almost every map style plays well on that particular map. There are some maps that I think are better suited for different styles. Almost every map is a decent enough team deathmatch. But Shipment, I remember that one quite vividly well. That was a really good one. I rate that. Honestly, I'll rate it 9 out of 10. The only reason why I won't give it the 10 is, like you said, I guess it could have been a little bigger. Now, it did mean that a lot of more firefights were also hectic, but it also meant I died a lot more in that. So if it was a little bigger, that probably wouldn't happen. But a solid 9.
Yeah. I'm the same on that. Firing range, Black Ops. It was the one.
I didn't play that one.
Okay, so it was a very interesting map because it had some really long sights, but then there was some really close combat, half blown up buildings that you could kind of jump on. But then it had the multi levels as well, so people would try and get up on these towers to shoot you down in the other buildings. Express.
Go back to the first one real quick. Exactly. Would you consider a small, medium, or large?
About a medium-sized map. It's kind of like it was weird because it was like a small map. It was like 2 small maps joined together and then had a big, long firing ranges through it. So it was a good-sized map. I would give it a 7. Sorry, to be fair. I used to love it if you had a good team, but it was the kind of map where you just get absolutely owned if you had a terrible team.
Yeah, it sounds good though.
Express. Now, this was one of the Black Ops 2. This was one of the first ones that had this moving train that would come through and clean everyone up on the map.
I always enjoy maps like that though that do have a moving component to it, just because like it adds that little hazard, so you got to be just another thing you got to have to watch out for.
Yeah, fair enough. I would personally give that probably a 7 as well because it was. I think it was just a touch too big of a map. I feel like it should have been a tiny bit smaller.
Oh, okay.
Slums, that was in Black Ops 2 as well. That was the one that had the big courtyard and had this big statue with this like octagon thing around it. And then you had the close combat all the way around that, where with lots of little buildings that you'd kind of go through.
I guess that would probably be it sounds like it would be a better close combat type of level. So shotguns is probably what you would do.
Well, it was shotguns, but it did have long areas as well for the snipers to come and pick you off. It was a fun map, but it got overplayed a lot. It was probably in that 7 to 8 kind of category. Strike, Modern Warfare.
Dude, I love that. That was like, because Strike from Modern Warfare 2, and I got to go back in time again, very similar to the level called Streets from Time Splitters, where it's exactly what it is. You got that like stretchy part right there, that no man's land, and just like people would just meet in the middle there and just explode. Thematically, I mean, it looks like just like, you know, a level from Modern Warfare 4. But that was one of my that's one that got played a lot, but I never got sick and tired of it.
Yeah, I'd give that an 8 because I thought it was pretty good also. Okay, so this is the one that you had to know. Rust.
Rust. Yeah. Okay, so total disclosure here. The only reason why I know Rust is because when I knew we were going to be talking this week about Call of Duty maps, I asked my brother, the Call of Duty expert, I'm like, all right, dude, I need some good, because I don't want to sound like a complete newbie. What's some good Call of Duty maps? And almost instantly, he was like, oh, Rust is good. Like, just instantly, he mentioned how Rust was a good level. Like, just mention Rust. I was like, all right. So I'm actually kind of happy that I'm glad you mentioned that. Go over it.
Rust was a really small level, so it was about the same size as Shipment. But the interesting part was it was very open. You could pretty much shoot from corner to corner almost. But they had this big tower in the middle that was maybe 5 levels high. So everyone was trying to get to the top of this tower so they could shoot everyone down on the ground as they were running around the map. But obviously, as you were up in the tower, you were like a sitting duck. So everyone on the ground was shooting everyone up in the tower. It was a different idea because you could see where the danger was coming from really, really well in Rust. But you had to be good at having your medium range in check.
All right.
Yeah, so I definitely give that one, I played a bazillion times. I give that one a 9. That's very high on my list. It's probably overplayed it. So, yeah. Let me go. We'll just finish off here with the one that we all know. We all know we're going here. Nuketown.
Well, I mean, it's been done to death. But yes, I now keep in mind, I don't play Call of Duty that much. I've played Nuketown. I know Nuketown. Everyone knows Nuketown, you know? It's to the point now where not everyone has seen, you know, Citizen Kane, but we know Rosebud. Not everyone plays, you know, Nuketown. Good level. I always like, you know, I love cul-de-sacs, so I'll always go for a good cul-de-sac level, of course. But do you think it's a level that really deserves to be played as much as it is?
Yeah. It's a good size. It's just a little bit bigger than Shipment or Rust. So you've got some kind of areas when you want to drop in that care package. You've got some areas that you can do that without losing your care package instantly. But then it's also got like a lot of close combat. There's a lot of sniping positions, and I suppose which skin of Nuketown do you like best? Because there's like many different versions of Nuketown as well. Over the years, they've done about 2 or 3 different skins of Nuketown.
It's in every single Black Ops.
Yeah.
You know, so in that case, I'm gonna go with original Black Ops 1, okay. just because that's, you know, you gotta go with the original in that one, I suppose.
But yeah, I just remember, I think that was the first map for myself that I got like massive kills streaks of like 20 or something, you know, like, and just unlocking that nuclear bomb to blow yourself and everybody up was nothing else but fun.
Now, do you have any more on your list? Because I have two that I want to give a special shout out to.
Go.
The first one I give a shout out to is Crash. I love Crash from the first Modern Warfare. That was really like the first Call of Duty map I ever played on, like quite extensively. I think it's like it was for the time it was the perfect. It represented Call of Duty Modern Warfare the best.
Yeah.
From everything from I remember I would like always duck around the downed helicopter to avoid, people shooting, and of course I'd end up dying anyway because I sucked at the game. But
no, I did. I love that. I love that level also. It was good fun.
Yeah, that was a really fun one. Another one I like going to Modern Warfare 2 was Terminal. It's a little on the nose today, but that just like the narrow hallways. Like I remember it was near the part where like you had to play it, whatever they call that. I've never been off playing, so I wouldn't know. And like I would just go there with a shotgun and just like wreck people, and I get wrecked too, but it was probably like the most visceral fun I had playing a Call of Duty game.
I forgot to mention Hijacked. That was the big ocean liner.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was in Black Ops 2. It was like a medium-sized map, but you also got to run, so you could kind of drop down into the engine room, which ran underneath the ship, and you could, in the engine room, it was all close combat, and then you could go, then you had all the above ground, you had like some 2 towers on the boat. So yeah, it had some interesting attributes about that one as well.
Yeah. No, in a way, it kind of almost sounds like a shipment, in a way, I guess, the way you say it. Just like a more like containerish level.
It's probably like if you got shipment and made it 3 times as big. Put 3 shipments next to each other. That's what Hijack was.
See, that's the thing. I mentioned how shipment, if it was just a little bigger, it would probably be better, but I wouldn't want it too big.
Yeah. So, World at War, that was my first introduction to Call of Duty, and the castle in that was something fun as well. It was a Japanese-inspired type of level, and you had this one room in this tower that everyone was trying to take over, and so I would go up there in a shotgun, so everyone was trying to get into this tower because there's only one way into this tower. Everyone would be trying to get in this tower, and I'd sit there in a shotgun and just camp there and just shoot people coming into the tower. That was the good old days. Back when camping was fun.
Yeah.
And now I'd be, oh, you bloody camper. Your mum does this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she does.
They find out you're camping. Yeah. Hey. Yeah, how do they know that?
So, yeah. Oh, well, I think that's about, we're up to all out of action for today. What else have you got?
Well, I mean, I just want to say that, even though I don't really touch that much Call of Duty, I've always respect Call of Duty, and I hope it still does well. I mean, so far, for what I've heard with people that play Modern Warfare 3, at least the story mode, not the best, but, I'm sure the multiplayer will still be solid, so Call of Duty will be fine.
In Modern Warfare 3, I should tell you that the zombies have been really revamped in that. We didn't even talk about zombies, but they have made them crazy, and you can now play as a squad. So what they've done is they've made it so you can play as a squad of 5 people or 4 or 5 people, whatever, and then you might land in the map here, and then another squad might land over in the other corner of the map, and 4 squads might land into the map, and you're all kind of fighting the zombies that are coming to you, and they've made hordes of them. And then you could all work together as a team, or your squad can stay separate. Your squad doesn't have to kind of go together, which is like a really interesting take on how the zombies have evolved, because it used to always be only 4 versus zombies, but now to have many squads in one map, to me that just sounds, I've got to try that. I just want to see what that's like.
I got a good excuse why we didn't talk about zombies, because last week was the scary games for the Halloween. So we didn't want to talk about zombies, repeats. We got to keep it kind of fresh. I will say though, the zombies in World at War I did like a lot. I thought that was really cool. It was a cool take on just like horde style gameplay, fighting waves and waves, like Space Invaders.
Yeah. And then when they started having all the lock boxes and you could get little guns, different guns, and it just got fun. It's just chasing that drop box. Anyway, that's it. We're done. Join us next week. We'll be back with more. What are we going to talk about next week? It could be anything. We don't really know.
Hey, it could be anything gaming, because here at Anything Gaming, we talk about everything gaming.
Yeah, so please subscribe if you hadn't done so already, and we will talk to you then. Goodbye.